Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about Kundalini and radical honesty. This is one of the unexpected side effects of a Kundalini awakening. No longer will anything but the truth suffice. And this is in all situations with everybody, especially yourself. And as we go on our Kundalini journey, this becomes more of a prevalent movement in our being, that anytime we find ourselves in a place that is not in alignment with the truth, we are going to find a lot of resistance in our being. We're going to find that our heart closes. We're going to find that we feel like we're just deadened inside, or we're empty. And if there's one thing I've learned through this Kundalini awakening, it's that if our heart isn't open, if we aren't living through our heart, then we're not going to feel as integrated. We're not going to feel as harmonious within. We're not going to feel our passion, and we're going to be really cut off from the flow, because when our heart is closed, that means there's a lot of resistance that we're holding on to. When the heart's closed, it means that we might be in the head, in judgment, and right and wrong, and blaming ourselves maybe, or feeling like we've done something wrong, and these things can keep our heart closed. But there's a saying, the truth sets you free. And that's the big thing I wanted to really communicate to you guys, is when you're going through a Kundalini awakening and you have Kundalini energy coursing through you, it's very, as you can probably feel yourself, it's important that you always speak your truth. You share your heart with others. Even if you're afraid of how you're going to be received. I mean, this is about sharing your heart with no attachment to outcome. Because whenever there's something in your heart to share with another, know that there's something in that for them too. Because it's all one heart. It's all one consciousness. So when you open your heart and speak your truth, you help another to open their heart. And, I've had this experience recently, and I've had it in the past. When we have a Kundalini awakening, even the smallest things can really throw us off. Sometimes I'll tell a little lie to like a friend or something, and then I'll have to go back and be like, actually, that wasn't totally true. And they'll be like, you didn't have to tell me that. It's not a big deal. And I'm like, no, it's a big deal to me. I have to be pretty radically honest. But anyways, it's something I've been going through. And I've noticed that whenever there's something blocking my heart, it's something that I don't want to face, because I don't want to face the emotions and the powerful energy there. I don't want to face like that burning sensation. Like, it's like when we really walk into living a heart-centered reality, when we really open our heart, a lot of times we're walking into the flames for the ego to dissolve in. So the ego will resist this movement, because it feels unsafe at times when the heart is open. So I had this experience. There was a truth I really needed to speak, but I wasn't able to really follow my heart for a while, because of the fear of what might happen, or like the fear of the ego, fear of like, this isn't gonna feel good. This isn't convenient for me, the ego says. But the feeling became like, in my being, like a little bit overwhelming, to like where, no, you have to speak this truth. You have to humble yourself, and you have to open yourself. And so a lot of times when we're about to speak the truth, we can feel the heart pounding. We can feel the mind, or hear the mind saying, don't do this. This is going to be too painful. This isn't comfortable enough. But, when we can feel in our heart, I've had to do this quite a few times now. Say, come forward with an uncomfortable truth. And every time the heart's pounding, but now I know that that's the soul yearning for this direction. That's the soul that is telling me, go this way. So it's interesting, the heart starts pounding and you share your truth, whether that's a difficult conversation, whether it's, a work related, a friend with a partner, a parent, a family member, even if it's something within that you need to share with yourself. As you share that, as you release that, you unburden yourself. You allow your heart to open back up. You feel that aliveness of energy, of grace, of source circulating back through you again. It's like you discover your own innocence once more through opening your heart, through sharing your heart, through being honest, even when it's terribly uncomfortable. And sometimes if you're having something that's really sticking with you, that you just feel like it's keeping your heart closed and you just don't feel like you have the courage to face, know that on the other side of this is you're going to feel lighter, you're going to feel more in alignment, you're going to show yourself how strong you are. It takes great humility to do this. This is why it's hard for the ego, because it's oftentimes speaking our truth can be very difficult for the ego's self-image that it's created for itself, right? And that's why this is a movement of coming into the heart. That's why this Kundalini energy ultimately is liberating us from identification with the ego, from the mind. And I just wanted to share with you guys, if you're having a Kundalini awakening, trust that the truth will set you free. Trust that this Kundalini energy just wants you to be authentic and honest in every moment with everyone. And you're gonna make what you perceive as mistakes along the way, and you're gonna not live up to your highest potential. I do this all the time. This happens. I heard this Matt Kahn quote. He is a saint. If you don't know Matt Kahn, Google him, YouTube him. He said something like, and I'm paraphrasing, what if the wrong choice, or what if the mistake you think you made was actually right for your highest evolution? And that's another thing, is like we put ourselves under this microscope when we're on the spiritual path, and we're so, at least I know I am so hard on ourselves of living up to this some unattainable expectation, and then when we don't live up to it, we do we're like just really hard on ourselves, and we were like really blame ourselves, and we're like, if only I would have done this and this. But the truth is that even your perceived mistakes are divine, because those mistakes, the things, and I've said this before, what you learn from a mistake is so, it like gives you a new set of choices for the next time you encounter that type of situation or that type of scenario. So you may have made a certain choice this time that you feel guilty about or ashamed about, but really what happened is you made the perfect choice, and that you can do nothing wrong because you just made the best choice available to you with your level of awareness in that moment. And because you made that choice, you now are given the opportunity to see more aspects of you that need love. You're given the opportunity to see aspects of you that are keeping your heart closed. And when these come up, if you're able to love them and embrace them and not deny them and not try to, not like make yourself into some kind of enemy, or like really be like brutal with yourself, if you're able to love these aspects, what's going to happen is you're going to integrate. And the next time this scenario comes up, because it's a helix, right? We're going to go through these scenarios over and over again, just at different levels of awareness. So the next time it comes up, because you integrated so much of what was triggered, because you've integrated that, now you have a new level of awareness, so you're going to have more choices available to you. And that is divine. That is, there is a script to all of this. And you might look back at things you've done and decisions you've made in your life and be like, well, if I only knew what I knew now, I could have done that differently. But there's a reason the universe has it happen the way it does. It's all about your growth. And to grow, it's important to just always be honest. Be honest and love yourself. And know that this is not something that we can get wrong. And that you're never going to do anything perfect because you're a human being. And that's not what this experience is about. It's about how can we cultivate more love for ourselves. It's about how can we learn to be more honest with ourselves and others. And it's about liberating ourselves through the humility of surrendering to something greater than the thinking mind. Surrendering into the heart, and through that connecting with Source, connecting with God, and not getting so attached to needing things to happen a certain way for us to be happy. So I just wanted to share about how important honesty is on this path and how it really does help your heart to open. And when your heart is open, you're going to feel more integrated with the Kundalini. A lot of the times when we're going through intense Kundalini symptoms, it can be because we're stuck in the thinking mind and we're identifying with judgments. We're identifying with, being critical to ourselves. We're identifying with blaming ourselves or maybe someone else. And we're identifying with, I did this wrong, I'm not doing this right. And I know that in my own journey, this has been the case. When I'm stuck in that type of consciousness, that egoic consciousness, I feel there's no flow, and I just feel the symptoms. I don't feel connected. But when I come into my heart and I just allow the Kundalini to speak through me as me, and I allow God to speak through me as me, and I let go of any type of egoic attachment to what that looks like, and I just humble myself to the Kundalini, to life, and I let life speak to me, and I let life guide me, and I forgive myself for what I perceived as a mistake, knowing it was exactly what I needed to do at that time for my highest evolution. Then what happens is I'm able to cultivate more self-love. And when we love ourselves, when we find a peaceful resolution within, which is another way of saying just letting go, that's when happiness springs forth. That's when joy springs forth. That's when passion comes through. Inspiration, But when we're stuck in the thinking mind, when we're stuck in, I did this wrong, I'm bad at this, I don't deserve this, I'm unworthy, I'm not good enough. When we're stuck in believing those thoughts, then we're going to be in resistance. Resistance to the Kundalini and resistance to life. So I hope that this video is helpful for you guys. I care so much about you guys. I hope that your Kundalini processes, your awakening processes are going well. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Namaste.